Welcome to the social media marketing updates for July 2025. My name is Alison Battersby and I am your host for today's social media marketing update. Plus, we've got our Ask Me Anything as well. So, what we're going to do is cover some of the biggest updates that have happened in social media over the last few weeks. And as usual, there've been plenty. And then I'm going to open the floor to questions. If you haven't joined one of our updates before, then my name is Alison and I run a social media consultancy, which is based in the UK, but we get activity and global clients from all over. And we offer social media strategy, training, and consultancy. And as you can see, we work with a wide range of industries and organizations. So if you are interested in having some extra social media support, maybe you're looking for a partner to work with on some upcoming campaigns, then please do let us know. We also host plenty of online courses so that you can improve your knowledge in all things social media, from paid advertising to understanding separate platforms like LinkedIn and TikTok. And so our online courses are all up on our website, avocadosocial.com, and you can scan the QR code there on the top left-hand side of the screen if you would like to get directly to our upcoming courses. So this is what we've got in store for our July updates then. We just today decided to pick 5 updates because, as usual, normally go for 10, but we wanted to make sure that we had enough time for Q&A today. So you may have heard this already, but TikTok has launched its in-app scheduler. YouTube and Facebook have been tweaking the algorithms to really reward original content. So we'll talk a little bit about that and what that means for you. We'll also be discussing group chats and how you can win over Gen Z now, utilizing more social media community management styled approaches. We also have spotted a test happening with Instagram carousels at the moment. So we will be discussing that one. And then finally, there are some updates around LinkedIn member analytics and how you can approach those through third-party tools. So we wanted to update on that because I know many of you are thinking about your employee-generated content and also your employer branding strategies at the moment, utilizing your colleagues on LinkedIn. So let's dive into it then. TikTok has just launched its first in-app scheduling tool. So this is something that they haven't had before, believe it or not. You have been able to schedule in the past via TikTok Studio, which is where you run your ads from. And various third-party platforms do offer scheduling, like Hootsuite and Later on TikTok. But this is the first time that they've actually brought out native in-app scheduling. So this means that you'll be able to just use the options within TikTok without having to rely on any other third party. So this is a bit of a test at the moment. It is rolling out, so not everybody will have it, but it is something that I think will be really, really useful, just being able to select a date and a time for your post to go out. For example, I have a few videos that I need to get up on TikTok and just haven't had a chance this week. So being able to schedule those very easily within the app would have meant that I could have had a more consistent flow of content going out this week rather than posting everything just in one chunk. So I'm quite excited about this scheduler. I quite like using the Instagram scheduler as well, mainly because it means that your tags, music, location tags, they all definitely work if you're doing it within the native app, whereas sometimes I don't trust platforms like Later or Hootsuite to be able to tag people properly. So we haven't had any dates suggested around when this is coming out, but it does sound like it's kind of rolling out at the moment. So the best thing that you can do is just keep an eye on your TikTok and look out in the more options section when you are posting to see if that schedule post option is there. So YouTube and Facebook have been rewarding original content for a while now, but this is the first time that they have announced that it is definitely affecting the algorithm. What this is essentially a big fight against copycats, impersonation, and spam. So they are cracking down on people that are just taking unoriginal ideas and copying what others are doing. So there's quite a fine line here because obviously with trends and memes, we do see similar styles of content coming out from different creators and different businesses where everybody is jumping on the same way of doing something. And this is certainly not what Meta and YouTube are trying to crack down on. What they want to get rid of is where someone straight out copycat copies somebody else. So where they've maybe taken an idea or copied word for word exactly what somebody else has done. Meta is taking a lot of action at the moment to crack down on spammy accounts. So earlier this year, they removed over 500,000 accounts from Meta. So that's across Facebook and Instagram, who were engaging in spammy behavior, such as just copying other people's content or, ripping it, so taking it down off their pages and reposting it as their own, or also creating fake engagement, so leaving fake comments on other people's posts is something that they're really cracking down on now as well. So they have said that they've also taken down 10 million profiles impersonating large content producers as well, because this is one of the challenges that Meta has is if there is a popular creator, there's usually like 100 other people trying to copy them and do exactly what they're doing. So this is all to help improve the feed and also to really make sure that a lot of what we are seeing is completely original and good quality content. Otherwise, us as users would begin to stop using it. So what does this mean as a business? Well, I think one of the first things that you do have to make sure that you're doing is if you are using somebody else's content, is always making sure that you're correctly tagging them or giving them that appropriate tag or attribution. So Meta is testing ways to provide proper attribution at the moment to creators. Like in this example, we can see where it says original by Deborah Jones. So their AI is able to pick up on who created the original post and kind of where that original idea came from. That is something that they're testing, and probably we will see something very similar to that come out across Meta in the future. One of the things that they are saying is that if they find accounts to improperly reuse someone else's content repeatedly, so without crediting them, then they will lose access to the Facebook monetization program, or they might receive reduced distribution. So effectively, they might get shadow banned, which is a phenomenon that a lot of people talk about where you suddenly don't get much reach on your posts for a period of time. So what does this mean as a business then? What can you do? Meta has shared some best practices. They have obviously said where you can post original content, so stuff that people just haven't done before, then that is a great way of generating the most reach and engagement. Making meaningful enhancements. So if you are going to share someone else's content, then making sure that you are making it your own through creative editing, adding voiceovers, adding commentary, and these enhancements must be meaningful. So for example, if you were taking somebody else's idea of a video, adding your own voiceover and making it yours is a really good way of making it more original. They've said that simply stitching together clips or adding your watermark does not qualify as meaningful enhancements. Telling a story is so important now with your social media content. So authentic storytelling resonates with viewers and is much more likely to perform well. I think storytelling might be one of the words of the year. It's something that's coming up so much in terms of your strategy and the type of content that you should be focused on in social media and what's working well. They've also said that while you can share any length of videos on Facebook, avoiding super short videos that offer viewers little value is important. Avoiding watermarks, so Facebook or Meta as a whole don't really like to see third-party watermarks or content that's visibly recycled from other apps or sources. So if you're posting something that was on YouTube Shorts or TikTok and you're putting that onto Meta, then it will carry the watermarks with it. So make sure you strip those out before you do any resharing. And use high quality captions as well. So captions have become essential as part of the mix if you do have a voiceover or if you are having any sort of spoken word in your videos, because it makes your content so much more accessible to a wide variety of people. And it also allows you to really add more relevant keywords to your video, and that helps with search as well. So thinking about captions and adding high quality captions to your videos is really important. One of the other things that we've spotted in the last couple of weeks is that YouTube is kind of copying the same terms and conditions that we've just seen from Meta. So if you look at the second bullet point here, these are updates to the YouTube Partner Program policy. So this is for anyone who's looking to monetize their videos and generate an income from YouTube. They are cracking down on inauthentic content as well. They don't want to see mass-produced videos or any types of repetitive content. And they've actually said that if you find that you are using inauthentic or unoriginal content, they will remove the monetization from those videos, so you won't be able to earn money from that. I think that's really important, particularly with the rise of AI content. They want to see that people aren't just generating kind of copycat videos to other people or using AI to create copycat videos. They want to see originality in YouTube. And that's where they're rewarding creators for coming up with original ideas as well. So this isn't a new strategy in social media, but it's recently come back in the kind of conversation in social media marketing, the rise of dark social. And dark social refers to any area of social media which isn't public, like DMs, group chats, and also we're seeing a big rise in places like WhatsApp communities and also private lockdown Facebook groups as well. So this dark social is really becoming hugely important to win over Gen Z in particular. And we're seeing more and more brands utilize dark social in order to really get themselves noticed, trusted, and respected by Gen Z. This was a report that came out in Adweek, and they said that Gen Z are moving towards interest-led communities like Tumblr, Reddit, and DMs. So that's certainly what we're seeing on Instagram with the rise of Instagram broadcasts. It's something we're thinking about a lot with WhatsApp communities. Gen Z can spot fake marketing a mile away. They don't respond well to brands that just see them as customers and want to get them to convert. But people naturally love talking about things that they're passionate about, which is why conversations and using conversation marketing is a really, really important way of enhancing your Gen Z audiences. So when brands connect over shared interests or speak in a way that feels familiar or genuine, it actually resonates. Adweek reported that the next wave of brand relevance might come from presence and attention over self-promotion. And I completely agree with that. When I look at some of the brands that are incredibly popular with Gen Z, they all have Instagram broadcasts. They are all commenting, sharing, and engaging with their customers, with their fans, with their influencers. They're not just logging into social media, posting, and logging out, but it's about being part of that conversation, being part of a community in an unfiltered space, which is really important for building that trust and really being relevant to Gen Z as well. So, something to think about, particularly for your 2026 strategies. I think we're seeing a real shift in social media, kind of away from the feed and much more into what is happening in these private areas. According to Global Web Index, Gen Z is twice as likely to share a TikTok video to a friend than they are to upload one themselves. And Instagram founder, not founder, sorry, Instagram manager, CEO, he has said himself, that's Adam Mosseri, that they see the most activity on Instagram in DMs. So that is where they see the most activity. That's where the most eyeballs are, where people are sharing the most. And so I think that just reinforces this piece that came from Adweek as well. So think about your dark social strategies. How are you approaching dark social? Do you have any kind of group chats happening? Are you commenting on, sharing, and engaging enough with your community? Are you acting like a community member, or are you simply posting? And if it's the latter, then I do think you need to update your strategy for the year ahead. Okay, so this is a bit of a test that was spotted in the last week and reported in Social Media Today. Instagram is testing a new addition to its post analytics, which would show how many likes each specific frame on a carousel has generated. So this is really interesting because Instagram doesn't always show your carousel with the first slide being first. We know that sometimes it's actually the second slide that has generated the views or the engagement. And this new analytics option would show you where you're getting the most likes throughout that carousel, which I think could really give you some extra learnings around whether you are kind of telling a compelling story and what kind of content your audience is resonating with the most. Now, this isn't definitely happening. It is a test, so it may or may not go ahead. Some of you may be seeing it, some of you might not be. But I think it is just another way that Instagram is giving us a lot of extra insights in terms of our content and allowing us to really analyze and see what works with our audiences. LinkedIn does offer some member analytics for personal profiles. So you can see some basic analytics around your reach, your post performance, and how many views your profile is getting. And this has now been announced that it's going to roll out into third-party tools via a specific API. So LinkedIn has just launched a new set of member post analytics APIs, which will enable third-party tools like Hootsuite Buffer, Sprinkler, Metricool, Social Pilot, Later, Publer, any of the scheduling tools or management tools to be able to integrate more LinkedIn post performance data. And I think this is really important because it's telling that LinkedIn recognizes how important your member profiles are to your overall mix. I think it's really important that you can analyze how maybe your directors, your C-suite, your wider employees are helping to contribute to your overall visibility on the platform. And the smart brands are really tracking to see what their main employees are delivering on LinkedIn. With the rise of elements like thought leader ads and also newsletters, it's really important to think about how your company is approaching thought leadership through member profiles. And if you're not thinking about this at the moment, then I would encourage you to, because at the moment, LinkedIn profiles, the member profiles, are actually performing a lot better than company pages on LinkedIn as a whole. So I'm excited to see some individual user data in my Hootsuite and Sprinkler and Metrical management tools. So keep an eye out for when that does roll out. Let's hear from Sam Correro-Clannon, who is head of creators at LinkedIn.
Earlier this summer, we announced a number of new analytics, so things like profile viewers and followers gained from a post, as well as premium button interactions. And we got a lot of really good feedback. People told us that these insights are really useful, but they also told us that they don't want to just have access to their LinkedIn metrics on the platform, but they also want to incorporate those metrics into their larger workflows, into the tools that they already use to manage and measure their content. That's why today we're launching a number of new member analytics APIs. So what these will allow you to do is pull your LinkedIn performance data, so video performance, post performance, into your social media management platform of choice. This is something that's been available for pages for some time that we're now extending to all members. So we're live now with a number of leading social media management platforms. I'll put the full list in the caption, and we'll be adding more in the coming weeks and months. Let me know if you've got feedback. Would be glad to hear it, and we'll continue building with you in mind.
So an exciting update there. My feedback would be not a great optimized video there, because actually the captions and his name and title are overlaying each other. So it's actually a little bit difficult to read some of the captions, and I really struggled to actually see his name on that video as well. So always think about your safe zones, as they're called, and where you're going to place the captions. Make sure there's no interference with other channel furniture, because it doesn't make for a great viewing experience if you can't properly read the information on screen. So that would be my feedback to LinkedIn. Okay, so we have been through the 5 major updates that we wanted to share this month. And now it's time to open the floor to some of your questions. I can see that a few of you are already asking questions in the chat. So if you do have a question that you'd like to ask me today, then please do drop that into the chat. Let's start with some of the questions that we've received through using the form that we promoted last month, and just through our general communities over the last month as well. So thank you so much if you did send a question through. We'll start with, what's the best practice for choosing music for video across platforms? Should you always use a trending sound or trending song? So this is a really good question, something that we get asked a lot of the time. And actually, it is useful to use a trending song if you can, but it's certainly not the be all and end all of why your video will go viral. Trending audio will not make you go viral alone. There is a lot of different elements to your video that will help to enhance it in the feeds. And a lot of it comes down to whether or not the content is good enough to keep people engaged. But if you are going to start looking for trending audio, then the best places to find that is actually to spend some time in the apps. We would recommend, if you're looking for trending sounds on Instagram, that you spend some time in the Reels tab and in the Explore page. Make note of any sounds that you see that are just repeated, and also take a look in the libraries as well. So you can actually look in the Instagram library, you can look at in the edits library, TikTok library, and in TikTok search as well. And anything that is trending will have a little trending label next to it. So in Meta platforms, the trending label is the upwards arrow. So anything with that upwards arrow shows that it's trending audio. They have a kind of top list of top 20 trending audio sounds as well. And over on TikTok, anything that is popular has the little red words next to it, popular. So there's 2 different ways of kind of showing that it's trending across those platforms. There's also a playlist in the commercial sounds TikTok library called TikTok Viral. There's also one called Tick Biz, which is songs that are available for business accounts. So do a good search through, look at what's available. If you can't use things because of licensing, then it will simply be grayed out, or it will just give you an error message and say you're not allowed to use this track. But there is plenty in there that you can use. So it shouldn't kind of affect your kind of music choices too much. On to the next question. Any ideas on what to post on days when you're really stuck for ideas? So, my advice here is to actually have a bit of a working list of ideas, something that you brainstorm regularly. You could make note of that in a notepad. You could have a shared Google Sheet with some of your colleagues. It could be a spreadsheet somewhere or a sticky note, but somewhere where you do brainstorm ideas and think about kind of, yeah, on those days when those ideas just come to you, you're making a note of them somewhere. It's really useful to have content pillars set up for your business. So content pillars are themes that you come back to on a regular basis, whether that's food and drink if you're a hospitality brand, maybe it's introducing your staff, maybe it's educating people, showcasing some of your expertise. So think about those content pillars and also really focus on evergreen content. That's content that won't go out of date, that's going to be valuable and useful to people whenever. Another thing that you could think about when you're really stuck for ideas is UGC. So, what have your customers been saying lately? Which is great if you're a B2C brand, but a little bit more tricky if you're B2B. We really like a tool called AnswerThePublic. This is a website you can go to see what people are searching about. So if you typed in your topic, brand, or product, like social media workshops, for example, social media training, I might put in, it will then show me everything that people have been searching on Google, Instagram, Amazon, YouTube, TikTok, and Bing over the last 3 months. You get 3 daily searches for free, and then you have to pay. So I think that gives you plenty, but it will then give you loads of ideas of what people are actually interested in, what challenges people are having, and what you might form your content around. It's good to have a mixture of proactive and reactive content. So, with your proactive content, that's really your messages that you are looking to get out there and promote. Those are your key content pillars. We use the content calendar for this. You can see that's there. It looks quite complicated, but it's actually really straightforward. Just shows us, what's coming up, what our ideas are, what's actually been produced, where's it saved, what's been scheduled, which captions have been approved, etc. And then the reactive content would be more like if there's a trend that we want to respond to. So recently, what has worked well for us was the ChatGPT action figure trend, also the propaganda we're not falling for trend. Both of those pieces of content have performed well on our feeds. So it's spotting those trends and kind of knowing whether or not you could make some relevant content that adhere to the trends, whether it feels right for your brand to do that and it doesn't feel too forced. And also acting quickly as well in case those trends kind of do finish quite soon. So we had to act quite quickly with the ChatGPT action figure trend because we knew it was going to be pretty short-lived. And I think in the end it was like a week that it was trending. So there are trends that you do have to act on pretty quickly. We do have another question coming up about trends as well. So watch this space if you've got more to ask me about that. How do you deal with spam comments on social media posts? So this is something we've seen a massive rise in recently, particularly with AI tools leaving kind of spam, unwanted comments on a lot of content. You can actually use the settings within your platform. So most platforms have comment controls in your settings. This is looking at Instagram. You can hide unwanted comments. So you could hide some, none, or more. And then also you can use the feature called hidden words, where you actually make sure that certain words are filtered out. So things like send us a DM or take a pic or follow us now, want followers. There's some examples there on screen. Those are kind of spammy comments that you do tend to receive, and you can have those hidden from your profile automatically. Also, don't forget you can report and block repeat offenders. So just to help clearing, spam off of the platforms, then it is good to play your part by reporting any accounts which are kind of leaving spam comments on your feed as well. So we make sure that we always do that. Okay, so just a couple more questions to go that have come from the community. And then I'm going to have a look at what you guys have been asking live in the chats. I'd love to find out more about WhatsApp channels. How do you set them up and the impact that they're having? So WhatsApp channels are like a really intriguing area of social media that I'm loving learning more about. You might not have even noticed them. If you look in your WhatsApp app, then right at the bottom of the screen, there's the section called channels, and you can opt in to various different channels that exist around the world. So I'll show you some examples in just a moment. You can create a channel to reach unlimited followers. So this is where people opt in to receive updates from you on WhatsApp. And they're not groups, they are broadcasts, which means that there's not like hundreds and hundreds of messages happening every day. It's perhaps just one alert a day that you are opting in to receive from a brand. So great way to approach maybe newsletter content, or if you're looking to send out a daily alert to people. I know more and more kind of schools, publishers, educators, fitness gurus with like daily recipes, daily exercises are looking into this at the moment. And you can share your channel with people. You can kind of promote that as well. It gives you a specific kind of link that you can send to people via email or social media if you want to publicize it in that way. So they're essentially broadcast, so they're one-way feeds. You can have up to 16 admins. Don't know why it's 16, what a random number, but you can have 16 admins managing this for you. Ideal for exclusives, updates, or building that community. You can run polls in there, and also people can react as well. So there are ways that you can kind of hear from the community and make it a little bit more as of a kind of market research tool. But I think for me, the most compelling thing about using WhatsApp is that it has a 98% open rate compared to email, which has a 20% open rate. So most people open up their WhatsApps and don't leave WhatsApps kind of unread for very long. So it could be a really great way for you to make sure that your content is being read. So we're considering brainstorming launching a WhatsApp channel for Avocado Social later on this year. So we'll keep you all posted on that one. Any tips on encouraging employees to post and engage on LinkedIn? So this was a good question we had through, and something that I get asked a lot as well. So you can use the notify employees feature, which is built in on LinkedIn. So once you've posted something to your company page, just use the three dots and notify employees. So you can only do that if you're an admin. That's the nice way just to make sure all of your employees are getting an email about that. You could also utilize other formats. So we really encourage using weekly emails where you spotlight on the best content that you've uploaded that week. Maybe even give some of your employees a shout out for some of the posts that they've done. You could even have employee of the week or social media post of the week and incentivize it. We've certainly found from including weekly emails in some of our client strategies that their engagement and visibility overall on LinkedIn is on the rise. Another thing that I would recommend doing is training your employees. So a lot of people don't get involved in LinkedIn because they don't know what the rules are about talking about their company or employer. They don't want to ruffle any feathers or break any rules. So if you actually train your employees, maybe face to face or in a webinar format, and just give them confidence and tell them a little bit more about what would help the business to grow, then that will really encourage more people to use their LinkedIn. And then, of course, engaging with their content as well. So if someone posts something brilliant on LinkedIn, why not share it from the company page or at least comment on it? Because that will really show them that this kind of content is received well, and you could give them a shout out as well in your weekly email. As a freelancer, I don't feel like I have time to create a lot of fancy visuals and reels on social media. I mainly use LinkedIn and Insta. What are your top tips for someone in this situation? And for example, what is the minimum number of reels on Insta or carousel posts on LinkedIn? Okay, so a couple of things to tackle there. If you feel like you haven't got time to create fancy visuals, then our advice is really to think about creating templates. So, templates where you can use the same kind of overall look and feel, but just change the text. So, that works really well for carousels, particularly if you're sharing some educational style imagery or, sorry, educational style advice. In terms of reels, again, you could use some templates. Having those set up in a tool like Canva works really nicely. I'd also think about a consistent frequency that you feel is achievable. So there isn't necessarily a minimum number, although I think the social media platforms would like to see at least 3 or 4 posts a week. But the key really is to stay consistent. So there's no point posting every day for 2 weeks and then going quiet. It's better to post twice a week, every week for 3 months. So it's the consistency of continually showing up to people, continually sharing valuable content that people want to engage with. That is what helps you to grow in social media. So Canva has loads of great social media templates that you can set up for different platforms. You could easily and pretty quickly edit them to make them into your brand colors and style. You can see here that we use a lot of templates in Canva. And like I said, you can do the same for Reels. So you could choose some templates that you like other people using and save those templates into your Edits app. And then really it's just a case of pulling in those different video clips that you've managed to film. I've been really working on my video strategy for the last year, and I would say that one of the things that has helped me the most is batch filming. So maybe filming like 3 videos in one sitting, and then you've got content for the next 2 weeks, for example. I find that just really helps, especially if you're very, very busy and kind of darting between different projects. And it also allows you to properly think about what you want to say and get across, and make sure that you do that kind of while you're in the mood to do it rather than forcing it or trying to do it in a rush. Okay, I think this is the penultimate pre-prepared question that we have today. How would you advise incorporating trends into your content? So this is a big question because I think there was so much hype a couple of years ago about how using trends is like the only way that you can go viral in social media. But I definitely think we're moving away from that now. I actually think that sometimes using trends can be a bit brand damaging, especially if it's a trend that isn't really that relevant to your brand or your purpose or your mission. For example, we recently saw the Coldplay memes going around last weekend. A lot of brands jumped on that. I don't think that was a great look. There was a lot of kind of negativity around brands that did jump on that, even though some of the content was quite amusing. But laughing in someone's misfortunes, particularly for the family that were affected by that story, I don't think looked great for many of the brands that did create memes around that. So I would really think carefully about whether that trend is going to be well aligned or is a good look for your business. Trends shouldn't be your whole strategy. Use them strategically. So there are some trends that are quite short-lived and there are some trends that hang around for a long time. So let's have a quick look at the short-lived trend example here.
This is Amber. She's 27.
I am 26 actually. I only turned 27 in July.
And she's living the life she's always dreamed of. Well-traveled and well-loved. She's settled into her cozy.
So I just cut that short a little bit. That was the narrator trend, which we saw a lot of last month or kind of June time. And it was something that a lot of creators jumped on, which was using like an AI voice. Well, you record the voiceover and then you turn it into the kind of deep male trailer style voice. I think obviously putting your own spin on it is really important because a lot of influencers like ended up doing exactly the same thing, which was a bit rubbish, to be honest, and just didn't look great. Whereas if you look at a reoccurring trend like POV, point of view, that's a trend that has been well established in social media for a long time, like years, and actually using your own version of that can work really nicely. So all you've got to do is put POV at the beginning, and then it's whatever sentence resonates most with your brand. So in this example, it's you've just found your new favorite cafe in the heart of West Sussex. So think about your aim. Is the trend actually to get people to see you and remember you, or is it more about kind of getting quick engagement in the moment? You need to understand the purpose of why you're doing it, because if it's just for views, then it can be great. But if it's something more meaningful like sales, then I probably wouldn't use a trend. I'd actually be thinking about ways that you can actually provide valuable content. I'd also think about whether it's recognizably you, so whether somebody will remember that content because it was you or because it was just another person doing that Coldplay meme. So, for example, Currys and Waitrose, who are both UK retailers, have a great approach to this because whenever they film their employees, they're always in their uniforms, which is very recognizable, and they're always on location in the shops. So, the location, the background is key to make sure their content is more noticeable and is very much them. I'd also carry out some social listening if you wanted to do a trend, just to check that people weren't starting to be negative around that trend and be a bit like, oh, this has been done, or I've seen this too much as well. And then my final question before I jump into the chat here is what advice would you give to new businesses around social media? Should they concentrate on engagement and building a following, posting relevant content, or a mixture of both? Sometimes it can feel strange posting content that's not being seen, engaged with as hoped. Definitely. I think here the advice I would give is consistency is key. So you're not going to get kind of overnight success. It really is about plugging away, and thinking about how you can promote your social media via other means as well. So talking to people about it, making sure whoever you meet face to face, you're asking them to give you a follow. If you're speaking to, retailers, suppliers, influencers, supporters, friends, family, getting them all to follow you. You really have to hustle in those early days. I definitely think posting engaging and valuable, relevant content is important, and a good mixture of that. And just making sure that your social media becomes a place where people are wanting to follow, whether they're getting value out of it because it's entertaining or it's educational. Obviously, it depends on your industry, and I don't know what industry you're in, but following some great influencers and content creators within that space should help you as well, because you want to establish relationships with them quite early on so that they can hopefully, use you, become a bit of a fan of the brand, and start talking about you as well. Okay, so time for some live Ask Me Anything. So let's have a look at the chat and see what you've been asking. So Natalie said, what are the best tools for social media scheduling, planning, and managing content as well as social listening? Is there a tool that can do all? Yes, there is, Natalie. So there's loads of tools out there. I think my favorites are probably Sprout Social, Metricool, and Hootsuite. Those are like the three which can do all of those things, and also have a bit of a wide range of pricing. It depends on how many licenses, so how many users you want to have on board. So you can do the free trial on all of those and see which one you prefer. Sometimes it's just, which one you enjoy using the most is the best one to go for, because then you're more likely to actually use it on a regular basis. Okay, so this is a good question from Louise, who says, I'm a brand new business, but not fully training yet. I need to retain dog owners as clients. I have lots of marketing ideas, but I do post identical content across the relevant platforms. But do I post identical content across all the relevant platforms to start with? I think when you are a new business, and particularly a small business as well, posting the same content across platforms is absolutely fine. The key thing that you need to do is edit that content so that it meets some of the rules and requirements of each platform. For example, you might need to slightly change the sizing of some of your content, such as videos or carousels. You might need to upload content slightly differently. For example, if you were using LinkedIn and you wanted a sliding carousel post, you have to upload that as a PDF. Whereas over on Instagram or TikTok, you can upload those images as images. Also think about captions. So if you're tagging people on Instagram, that same tag might not work over on Facebook or TikTok. So you probably will want to switch up the caption so that it aligns very nicely with the platform that you're posting it to. But with a few of those tweaks, I don't think that the content itself needs to be largely different when you are starting out. Obviously, think about who it is that you're targeting on each of the platforms, because if you're talking to other businesses on LinkedIn versus customers on Instagram, it might be different styles of content that you do need to upload there. So that really comes out of your strategy and how you plan to use each social media platform to target each desired audience. Okay, Esme, hello Esme, says, what sorts of things could brands be sharing in Instagram broadcast channels? Wouldn't want it to just be promotion or plugging posts. I completely agree, Esme. I'd be really disappointed if I joined an Instagram broadcast and all it was just pushing the same promotions that the feed was pushing. There has to be a level of exclusivity in there. So whether that's kind of new announcements about products that are coming or things that are going to be announced, like a new competition is launching tomorrow. So kind of giving people that exclusive news, I think, is a really good way of doing it. Also, asking for feedback is really important. So asking people what they think about new products, or what they think new products should be named. Or there's a brilliant company called Humble Crumble that I would recommend following on Instagram. And they have an Instagram broadcast called Crumble Lovers. And if you're part of that, they will often ask you what monthly special flavors you'd like to see them produce. So you feel like you've got a part of their business, and they really utilize the feedback that they get from their community in making those key important business decisions. So exclusivity is the main theme of what I'd expect to see in an Instagram broadcast channel. Andrea says, would a WhatsApp channel work for a boutique premium real estate company? Definitely. I think that would be a great thing to offer some of your current kind of home searchers, seekers to be part of. Particularly, anyone that comes to you that says, okay, I'm looking for, premium real estate. you could say, well, if you're added to our WhatsApp channel, you will get the first announcement of any new property that we are adding to the website. We'll give you, the first offer of a viewing. So it again is that exclusivity. I just joined a WhatsApp broadcast for my local beauty salon. And the reason why is because they said we will be releasing appointments here first. So if a cancellation happens or we've suddenly got a gap, we'll put it here first before it goes on the website. So that just feels like an instant way of being able to get that kind of VIP treatment through something that's so instant and easy for people as well. Okay, question from Lauren. Nice to see you here, Lauren. With third-party watermarks, would you suggest never having your brand logo on your reels or posts? I don't think having your brand logo on your reels is really needed, to be honest. I think it kind of suddenly makes your content look incredibly corporate. And the idea really is that we're all trying to create more authentic and engaging content that looks like a friend has created it. So I probably wouldn't suggest having your brand logo on your reels. I don't think there's any issue with having your brand logo on your posts, though. If you're creating graphics, flyers, carousels, we put our logo on all of our carousels, particularly on that final slide where you've got the call to action or some, contact info. So I don't think there's an issue there. The main thing that they meant with third-party watermarks was that they don't want to see other social media platforms being promoted on their own. So Meta in particular does downgrade content that has a TikTok logo on it. Okay, just having a quick look through to see if there's any other questions that have come through. If you are thinking about one, then do let me know. We've got 3 minutes left, so we can definitely squeeze one more in. My optimistic self. Oh, I missed one from Shaylee. Sorry to miss that one earlier on. You said that company pages aren't performing as well as member profiles right now. For those of us who manage company pages, how can we best ensure that we're getting engagement despite this? So I would be definitely trialing out some different styles of content on your company page, seeing if video or carousels or polls have a good effect for you. I would also be thinking about utilizing some of the newer LinkedIn features like newsletters and also LinkedIn Lives from your company page, because when you use those two new features, I say new, they're like a couple of years old now, that can really like enhance visibility within the platform because they like to see you using some of those features. So you will get notifications out to a wider audience. The other thing that you might want to consider is advertising as well. And obviously, LinkedIn advertising does have a bit of a reputation for being very expensive, but it can be a great investment because you can get right in front of your desired target audience on LinkedIn. And also there are ways that you can bring the cost down by utilizing some of your own CRM data in the audience targeting options there. So hopefully some new ideas there for you to try out with LinkedIn. So if you've enjoyed today's session, we did things a little bit differently today with a lot of questions that we got through. It's always useful if we receive a review. It really helps to bump our business up in those Google search results pages. So if you want, then we'd love to hear from you and what you thought about today's session. You can just scan that QR code and you'll be taken straight to our Google pages. We are taking a little bit of a break, so there won't be an August update. It's important to take a bit of time offline, I think, over the summer if you can. So we'll be back in September with our social media update. We've also got a TikTok for Business class coming up on the 24th of September and a LinkedIn for Business course coming up in October. So if you're interested in any of those, again, you can scan that QR code and find out more about our online sessions. Everything gets recorded as well. So if you can't make anything in the kind of UK timings, it is certainly possible that you can watch recordings as well. And then finally, if you want to chat to us, we always love to hear from you, whether that's an Instagram DM or you want to shoot me an email about anything, please do. I'm at alison@avocadosocial.com. Our website's avocadosocial.com, and you can find us at Avocado Social on most of the social media platforms. So we do always appreciate a follow or any kind of engagements that you'd like to give us. Thank you so much for being part of today. I really enjoyed it, and it was great to hear your questions as well. So big thanks for sending those through. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care and speak to you all soon. See you in September.